Welcome to the Wealth Talk podcast, and I'm so grateful. Now the show is on a whole nother level. You know, we got big time developers in the house right now. I'm so grateful and I'm so excited about this talk right now that we're gonna have. You know, I'm with a special person who's, been doing things in many different areas, business and philanthropy, right? Thank you, I appreciate you, Isaac Olowolofe.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Yes, this took Wealth Talk podcast to a whole other level right now, So, I've gotten to know you from the past years. When I talked to you, I think I brought you back a little bit.
Yes,
and we're going to do a lot of that today,
all right.
Because I want to start there.
Yeah.
I want to go all the way back. I want to go from, where were you born?
Yep.
What was life like growing up? And how you became, who you are now.
Absolutely. No, again, we've gone back several years, so it's great to tell the story and again, sort of give a little bit of the history of Dreammaker, the history of myself and coming into this country, being born in Nigeria. First of 4 kids. I have another 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
Came here when I was 4 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then now I'm a full-fledged Canadian.
Okay. What was the reason for coming to Canada? Because obviously you're the oldest, so I don't know if you remember, but I'm sure you probably hear your parents what their mindset was at that time.
Well, so my dad actually came to Ryerson at that time when it was a college.
Oh wow.
And then Algonquin College, and even in Ottawa in '78.
Okay.
So he came here in '78, did engineering, finished off, graduated, and then moved back to Nigeria.
Okay.
And then a few years later, both my dad and my mom came here with myself and my younger brother at that time, and that's when we made the move here. My mom was working at Toronto General Hospital. She was working in a hospital in Nigeria, and then just did the transition here as well.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. So how did your dad know to come to Canada to do school?
Yeah, you know what? I've never really asked him that question. I think at that time, a lot of Nigerians were either going to the UK or through the States, to New York or to somewhere in the States. But I think a few of his friends in school back home, started talking about Canada, and he was part of a pack of a few people that came during that time, during the 1975 to 1979. There's a few that came, and they're still friends, so it's just great to see that.
Okay. Yeah, because my parents came around the same time as that time, so I guess at that time there was an outreach, I guess, to Africa.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you came down, and since he was in school, I'm sure he probably was positioned well.
Well, again, back then, even if you were in school, it's obviously gotten a lot better for the Black community, but back then, even going to school, most of the individuals that I feel came here from Africa to go to school was really get the education and then go back home and utilize the education. So as a result of that, there wasn't really a lot of roots built here.
Yeah.
Right? Because the intention was really go back home.
Okay.
Go back home.
Yeah.
But, 1 year ended up being 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then before you know it, you're living here while still having your mind that, okay, you're going back home because majority of your family is back home. Yeah. But then now more families start coming here, right? So that's sort of what happened, right? Because, then aunts and uncles start to come, cousins start to come, and then, we have a pretty large family here now with cousins and other aunts as well too, and uncles.
Okay, so talk about that now. So now you're in Canada. This is a new place. We're used to it. Obviously the cold, the weather, you weren't used to that. What was it? Give the experience,
Well, I'm trying to remember back. We lived at Jane and Finch area, so lived at Jane and Finch for a few years. Top Cliff was the daycare or the school that I went to. It's funny, I bumped into a few of the teachers a couple years ago at some events, and it was just crazy, just them telling me some of the stories of how I was around that age group, and just saying that I was just always running around and really just looking to learn new things. So it's interesting how that really played out to where I am now. But at that time, again, like I said, we're in Jane and Finch, but my parents were always about, okay, how could they position us in a better environment?
Yeah.
Right. It's all about environment, right? So for them, after Jane and Finch, then we moved to Martin Grove and Albion.
Okay.
And that's around the time I was going to St. John Vianney. And really, again, same thing. We were still within the city, within the predominantly visible minority community.
Yeah.
And then, again, the last shift that really, again, shifted the environment was moving to Woodbridge, going into high school, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So when your dad was here, was he doing what he did for school, like in terms of professional?
No, like again, back then, everyone that graduated from college or university from the Black community were always trying to get. Even now, it's hard to when you're coming from Africa to work within your profession, right? And at that time, a lot of people were driving cab or trying to sell cars back home, right? Move material back home. So it was dabbling in all of those different areas, with always having a passion. Even my mom, always having a passion of investing and real estate.
From early.
Yeah, from very, very early. They both had that passion of just business, right? And trying to do investments. And that's why they were always asking questions. And through asking questions, that's why, when we were renting at Jane and Finch, they still knew, okay, let's buy the house at Martin Grove and Albion, which they still own that house.
Oh, wow.
It's going on probably almost 30 years.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, so they still own it, right? And because they always had that notion of ownership, right? So no matter the cost, always trying to get into that ownership path. And they've tried to share that with their immediate family as well.
Yeah. And when you're saying asking questions, because most people, that information you don't just get, but I get what you're saying. They were asking questions, so then they figured this stuff out through asking questions.
Because there's no system, there was no infrastructure, and that's part of what we're trying to build now for newcomers coming from Africa, coming from the Caribbean, to be able to come to a center where they're exposed to that type of information. How do we plug into the education system? How do we plug into the job system? Where do I go for this, or where do I go for that? How do I buy a home? Yeah. Right? That wasn't set up. I think at that time there could have been one or two brokerages that was from the Black community that I can remember, around 25.
Wow.
But really, there was really not a lot, right?
So
you really had to ask outside of the community, and hope that you bump into one or two people that will be able to sort of lay the path. But it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, when there's no system built already.
Okay, so your parents were in real estate, so you kind of had like a foundation as you were growing up, about real estate.
Well, ownership, really. I think really is just an aspect of ownership, right? So, like I said, if I moved when I was 15, 16 to Woodbridge, so we were staying in Martin Grove for about 5-6 years. So literally almost 30 years ago when they bought their first property. And again, it was expensive at that time, for them, but they knew that they wanted to move us from renting to ownership. But then again, they still weren't satisfied with that environment, right? And then that's when they made the shift to move us to Woodbridge, almost 25, 26 years ago, but knew the value of keeping the first property and renting it out. And basically becoming a real estate investor. Basically becoming a property manager, right? And it was, I remember it was a 3-bedroom house, and then a basement. And, that was actually my first understanding of a rooming house, because I remember, I think they turned one of the dining rooms into a bedroom. Right? So it ended up being like a 4-bedroom house. They cut it off, shared kitchen, and then the basement. That was a rooming house, right? They created a rooming house. That was like 20 plus years ago, right? So, they did that, and then we moved to Woodbridge, and through that got exposure to other ways of doing real estate, right? And then, that sort of laid the foundation of where we're at.
Yeah, probably because they seen even the cash flow that was coming in. They're like, this is not bad.
Correct. And that's around the same time my dad got his real estate license.
Nice.
So about 25, again, it'd be about 25, 27 years ago when he got his license, and then really, again, so that gave now not only the understanding of buying a home, but now from the practice of doing it as as a job, of selling real estate as a job.
Okay, so no, that's serious, because even me, like when you get into the profession, now you get to go deeper and know more ins and outs of what's going on, right? So your dad was a real estate agent, and then obviously you're on the side, so you're picking you're seeing everything what's going on.
Like you don't know, like as a kid, you don't know when you're taking it in, but you hear it. You see the conversations, and you may not have interest of it at that time, but you're hearing it, right? And if you hear good or bad enough times, it stays,
exactly,
right? So fortunately for me, my parents always try to build an environment where I hear and saw good things, hear and saw things about business, hear and saw things about real estate, and then the environment that they brought us into, I was seeing it with my classmates and their parents and their fathers, and so it became normal to have those conversations.
Okay, so while you're coming up, like say in school, while you're in school and stuff like that, because most people get like different jobs, like I work at all kinds of places, so were you working like the job kind of thing, or you just got right into real estate from the beginning?
No, well, like again, all throughout high school, I was doing, like, I remember my first job, I think in Woodbury, was at Canada's Wonderland, and I worked at the grocery store.
Oh, nice.
Right, so I did all those little jobs, and I just, again, keep myself busy while playing sports, and also, again, math, science, calculus, all those different things, courses, because the aspiration was to get into the university, right? So, got into U of T, Mississauga campus, and really at that time the aspiration was computer science.
Okay.
Because I liked computer programming and all that kind of stuff. I had to learn how to actually program when I did my first year of university, and I realized, okay, I don't like it that much. Okay. I think I liked playing on the computer, like playing games on the computer, but I didn't really like.
But the programming and coding is
right? So I knew right away that programming wasn't it.
Was that after like your first year or what?
Yeah, within my first year.
Okay.
I just transitioned right away to economics. Okay. Right, so I knew I wanted to stay within the business realm. So I just shifted over to economics and management as something that hopefully would take me through the next 4 years, 4 years or so. But then that's when, also I said, okay, I got to continue to do stuff so I could get real estate. Again, like I said, after graduating from high school, a lot of my friends in high school, as we were getting to grade 11, grade 12, OAC at that time, was talking about real estate. Okay. Was talking about buying their first property. Okay. Was talking about, maybe I'll partner up with my dad and get a property. So it was already planted in my head from them. It was planted from my dad being it. It was planted by my mom and hearing their stories of Martin Grove and property they're managing, right? And then so going into university, that was something that I'm like, how do I get that first one? And then, it was just working at UPS. Okay. A midnight shift with a few close friends. And then boom, the conversation of real estate came again. And as I said, you know what?
This is it.
I'm gonna go get my license.
Okay. Okay. Go for your license. Nice.
That's when I went. Around 21. Okay. And that's when I went to go get my license. So again, I was still in my first year of university. First year of going into second year of university.
What year was this around?
So this would have been. What year would that have been? 2000. Maybe 2000. No. What are we now? Would it be like 17 years?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 17 years, because I'm married 13, been with my girlfriend now, wife, 05.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 05, 04.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
04 or 05, exactly. Okay. Yeah, so it's a pretty long time ago in terms of that exposure. It's going on almost 20 years now. Yeah, it's going on almost 20 years now, just that exposure to the real estate space. So yeah, it's funny, I did my first exam, my first real estate exam, and I failed it. So I was like, holy smokes, right?
Did you study though?
I not a lot. Okay. I thought, let me wing it.
You probably thought you knew it already because your dad's in everything.
It was open book, but you know what? You know the crazy thing, because my schedule at that time is I was still doing economics at U of T, which is a pretty hard university, and then at nighttime I was working a midnight shift. From 12 to about 4 or 5 a.m. Yeah. And then during sort of off times that I'm not studying for actual class was when I was studying for my real estate exam, right? So the first one I failed, I'm like, I asked myself, like, oh man, maybe this is not for me.
Oh, for real?
But again, I'm like, no, let me try again.
This time I'm really going to go study.
Exactly. So then I got it, and then quickly went through the courses and got my license. So I would have been around 22 or so. Got my license, and around that same time bought my first property at Marbrook Lane, Kipling and Steeles.
Was that first property a property that you moved into, or what? Or it was just an investment?
Never. I've been home, stayed home right until I got married.
Nice.
Had a whole bunch of real estate, all rented out. Right until I got. There's no need to leave the house. Parents were looking after.
For sure.
Why leave and start paying mortgage, right? So I stayed home and bought a few properties, Kipling and Steeles, Marbrook across the Scarborough Town Center. The first one was the one downtown at front of Spadina.
Okay, so hold on. I wanna go, let's get there right there, okay? Because this is a place where a lot of people are, right? Because you just said, okay, I got my property, I got the next one, right? So a lot of people are at this stage, you know, where they're getting the first one, or the second one, or the third one, or the fourth one, right? Even myself, I have clients that, you know, like they have 2 properties and they say, oh, if I get another one, like, how do I have to set it up? Like, am I able to get another one? I know, like, so I want you to talk more about that. How do you know about, okay, and like the structure, and what is the structure of how to keep getting these different properties?
Well, it's changed drastically. You know, when we were in the game, you know, there's 0 down with a cashback. There's 40. It's a totally different game.
Okay.
There, like, real estate courses was open book and only 3 courses. Then it shifted to 5 or 6 courses. Now you got to go to the college, right? And now it's not open book, right? So as the classes have changed, so has the game as well too. So has the policy, so has the types of mortgages, the amortization. It used to be 40-year amortization, then it went to 30. Then I think it's 25 for some of the insurers, right? There's 0 down. I remember Scotia would do, you know, 0 down with a cashback of 6% with a 40-year amortization.
Oh, that's
like, so
serious.
how do you lose, right?
You
know, and we were saying, you know, buy your property 0 down, or put down 5%, or
and
get
they give
the
you cash back and all this stuff like this. So And but at that time, you were able to get a lot of properties as well? Or?
Well, at that time, again, you could get maybe 2, 3, but then once you start getting after your second one, then you have to put down close to 10%, right? Because then it got to 20%, right? So, and then you JV with another person to get one, right? But really, the first 2 was, you know, 5 to 0 down, right?
Wow.
And again, that was all before the pre-construction bug. It was just, again, buying whatever was affordable on the resale side.
Renting it out, you know, you knew your cash flow going in, like pretty much.
Well, when you're putting 0 down, sometimes it's like breaking even. But then I ran the numbers. I'm like, do I, you know, again, I was still working at UPS. Do I pay into my RSP or do I pay into my property? So I said, let me just pay into my property. Right. So that $200 a month. You know, $2,400 a year. $2,000 a year. Do I pay that into RSP? That's a tax break. And then hopefully by 65, tax out. Or do I put it into the property? So I said, let me put it into the property.
Okay. Any of those properties you still have now, or?
One of them I still have. The one downtown. I flipped one of them. I flipped the first 2. Last year, but I still have one of the other ones that there's 2 of the first properties that I bought downtown, front of Spadina and Liberty Village we still have.
Nice. So I think that's what I met you at too.
Correct, exactly, right at the corner there.
Nice, so at this time you're in college and you have all these properties piling up, like, did you still finish college? You still finished? Like,
my parents wouldn't allow me. I know the story sounds good. Dropped out and started a business.
I know exactly. You gotta go, though. You gotta go. Your school is the most important.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And again, institutions, right? So everything we do is all with institutions, right? So no, it was important to finish. So graduated with economics out of at U of T, and then started working on building out the brokerage.
Okay.
Right. The goal again was just starting to build. No, actually, not even a brokerage. Building out myself as a real estate agent.
Okay. Yeah.
And then getting my broker license.
Yeah.
And then it was around 25 or so after I got the 2 years of being a broker when I went to my dad and said, okay, you know what, let's launch it now as a brokerage firm.
Oh, okay, nice.
Right, so then that's when we launched Dream.
So when you started your work with your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was me and my dad were working at one of the home life superstars. Funny enough, we're home life. At one of the home life superstars. So I was there for about 2 years because you needed to stay there for 2 years. 2 years there. Then I did another year at another brokerage. So 3 years of just learning the ropes. And then boom, launched the brokerage.
Okay.
So I was around 25 or so. Yeah. So that would have been almost 17 years ago.
Oh wow!
When the brokerage was started.
Oh wow! Okay, that's serious. Okay, so then you had the brokerage, right? And then from there, was it okay? Right away, I guess start building your team, or was just you and your dad at first, and then I know because now you're in development and all that. At that time, was that the plan, or no? It was just like, okay, let's have our brokerage and let's just sell real estate. Was that?
No, the plan was always to build out a vertical integration, right? Which started with the buying real estate, then the brokerage, then management, investment, and development. So Dreammaker Developments, that was, registered that pretty much 3-4 years into real estate. I didn't think I would get into it, 7 years into real estate. I thought, maybe 10, 15 years into real estate, I'll work myself in, do a little rental flip, do some infill properties and all that kind of stuff. But
smaller jobs kind of.
But God works in mysterious ways, right? And the opportunity to jump into the development game, it will be almost 10 years ago, right? So really, again, it was 7-8 years into real estate that I decided to jump into the development space. But that was after really crushing it on the pre-construction side for about 4 to 5 years and understanding and becoming an expert in that space.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
So the goal was first becoming an expert on the real estate side, on transactions, on the resale. First by doing it myself, which is what I did. And then I realized that, for me to buy more properties, I need more time to save up. That's when I got into pre-construction.
Okay.
Right? And then by studying the fundamentals of where those pre-construction was happening, I was looking at the resale price points were always higher at that time than the pre-construction prices. So I said, okay, well, drop 5%, 10% over a year. It's cheaper than the current product. That means by the time it's built, there's already a spread based on today. Right? But with inflation, there's more value, right? A little bit of the economics degree.
For sure. That's straight economics.
Straight economics, right? And then, but then, then I realized how that pre-construction model was working and the value of access. So while everyone was focusing on resale, sales, and everything, that's when I said I need to focus on building infrastructure and access. And that's when I went on the journey of building access and infrastructure. So that journey is now the last 10 years of, do sales here and there, but really let's build an infrastructure. Because once that infrastructure is locked in, you could do sales all day.
So is it like the building? Because we had Aaron Charles on it, and he said the developer loves the art, and it sounds like you like the same thing. It's like you're talking about building, and that's what it is. Like you're overseeing like a whole thing, and it's just kind of forming together, right?
Right. No, I for me, I love infrastructure, all types of building, all types of development. I love master planning, right? So I love putting pieces together, and that's with the development game. You're wearing multiple hats, which is different from the construction game where you're actually building it, right? So development game, you're planning it, which is what Dreammaker Development does. But Dreammaker Development is also the builder, building it as well too, constructing it as well too. So on the development side, you're managing the consultants. The planners, the architects, the engineers. On the construction side, you're managing now the trades, right? So then that's another level of battles that you got to deal with. So it's two different types of battles, right? Some people, there's developers and then there's builders. We knew right off the bat to really build that infrastructure, let's do both, right? So we develop,
Yeah.
and then we build.
Okay, I get you. And when I met you, you know, back in there, I think it was like probably like 8-9 years ago, right? And at that time, remember you, I went to go see you speak as well, right? And you were speaking at a conference, and you were talking about like the different stages of development,
Correct.
and stuff like that. So you were on that from those times,
From those times,
right? Can you go through that, like in terms of?
Yeah, no. Again, because I was doing pre-construction, and I remember that chart that a lot of people use now, talks about the pre-construction stage and getting it out, friends and family, and then VIP, and then it goes to the public, then it's on the resale side, and then it checkers off. There's a whole process way before that. Whether it's the land, and then developing the land, but waiting for the infrastructure to come to those lands, whether it be sewage, roads, and other forms of infrastructure to make sure it could be serviced to be developed. That piece, there's value being added, right? And then there's an appreciation. But then now that all the infrastructure is around the land and the servicing is there, now you want to create a master plan, right? And then in creating a real master plan is, subdivision, a school, a plaza, place of worship. That's a real master plan. And then within the residential side, now you break that up, right? You could be doing, mid-rise condo. You could be doing some towns. You could be doing some singles. Now you start getting that. You break up those blocks into the site plan. Now you start to get into the site plan. Like that's the real development piece. That could be 10 years on its own.
Wow.
Right? And then the construction could be 2 to 3 years. Right, and then before the construction, you got the pre-sale, right? So that's where with the sales side, right? And then after it's built, you got the condominium side. So like when I did Yorkdale, I made sure I went through the whole process outside of the turning it from, raw land to, so it was already zoned within the official plans, the Yorkdale project.
Okay.
But we finished the zoning, then we did the site plan, then we did the building permits, then we did the pre-sales, then we built it, then we did the property management after with the registration with the city and the condo board, and then we registered the building, right? So I wanted to go through the full process, right? So that when I bring on partners, bring on individuals, I have a good sense of what the start to the finish is.
Okay, that's serious, because that building, it's a staple, and we're proud. Every time I drive by, I'm proud, like I built it. But
that's why we picked it there. We could have gone to much cheaper locations, much larger sites where it's not as tight, but that's 0.7 of an acre.
Okay.
0.7 of an acre, like on a ramp, on a main street.
What gives you, because that's the thing, right? A lot of people have fear in them, for something so big that, of a project. Like when you were doing that, first off, did you see it as a big project? And then also, what made you go forward in doing that?
You know what it is? It's like for me right out the bat, I wanted to get into the game to change the game and have an impact beyond just my circle. So the only way you have an impact if you go big. For me, I like to go big or not even worth the time.
Okay.
The same effort to do one house, it's the same effort to do a building, right? You still got to deal with the city, you still got to deal with the drawings, you still got to deal with the engineers, still got to deal with the servicing, and then you still got to deal with the construction, and then you still got to deal with the tear-on, right? You still got to deal with the purchaser, right? So I said, let me multiply that, because with the one house, you could have an impact, but with a building, you could have a bigger impact. In a building with that location, you can multiply that impact, right? So whether it's the youth, the older individuals, those that's going into the mall, those are driving by to go to Lawrence Heights, which is getting redeveloped. They could look at that building. But we've had school trips at that building. We've had kids come from Jane and Finch on a school bus and do a tour of the building like it's a museum. Right?
Real time.
Right? So that's a legacy. We built our legacy on day one. Right? Now we're just adding to it.
I see now, you have like I said, I seen the other day, you guys are making castles and things, right? You know, but it's real though, you know. And I'm like, yo, those are. Really
I like new challenges.
Yeah.
Or like I said, I jumped into development because sales wasn't challenging me enough, right? I got to be challenged in everything I do, right? So that's why I said, how do I challenge myself? And then we did the concepts like, let's do some towns, let's do a custom home. Let's do a commercial building. What if we build a hotel? What if we convert this industrial building, right? Let's turn this 4 townhouses into a rooming house. Let's build out 40 rooms, right? So it's for me is the creativity of turning something like nothing into something, right? But then always doing it where there's multiple impact beyond just the building or the product being done. Yeah. Right. So every project has an impact. That's why the location is critical in all the projects that we do. So that it has multiple impact and exposure. And then the creativity of that, okay, you know what? You took one house, converted it into 6 towns. You took a corner lot, converted it into a boutique building. Took an industrial building, converted it into a high-end boutique hotel. Right? So now we're taking a triplex, converting it into a 10plex. Okay. Right? So the idea is like, how do we, work outside the box and just do something that is creative from my point of view. Yeah.
But you must have been built some way because do all the things always work out? Like I'm assuming that maybe you have had in the past certain things that built you so that you're able to keep going. Like, can you talk more about that? Because of course we see everything's going by. I'm sure there were some kind of challenges.
You can't, like I tell you, you can't be in any game without losses, right? But then you gotta look at, okay, like when you look at the stats of Jordan, championships, multiple championships, but there's losses too. But for me, I'm always looking at things from a big picture point of view. What is the end goal of what we're trying to do? We're trying to build a legacy. We're trying to build infrastructure. And when we're on the road 23 out of 24 hours, that means we're more prone to accidents than somebody on the road 1 out of 24 hours, right? So if there is an accident, it's part of the game. If there is a battle that's lost, but the war is still winnable, that's part of the game, right? I knew that getting into it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I knew.
Can you give us like some examples, just so like something that you recall that was like holy, and then you overcame it or something?
Yeah, no, the biggest one for us was our project in Richmond Hill. Okay. I jumped into that project while Yorkdale was on the 4th floor. My Pickering site, 23 towns, was under construction. I'm still running the brokerage. I just started Dream Legacy. Dreammaker Ventures was about to launch, and then someone brought the Richmond Hill site. I'm like thinking, okay, you know what? About 4 years or so to get approved, which is perfect. Yorkdale will be done. Pickering will be done. Transition over there, and then at that time transition to the city with what we're doing at Paving and York Mills. Then 5 years, then 6 years, then 7 years. By that time, we're finishing this project. It ended up being 8-9 years until we're like, this is not happening anymore. And the craziest thing, up till now, project's still not approved. So for me, that was a big lesson. There's other reasons behind why it didn't get approved, but that's the game that we play in, right? But why it didn't stop what we're doing, because when you're doing 10 things and you're shooting 80%, I wasn't the best at school, but 80% is good.
Yeah, of course.
80% is good, right? So we just got to keep on going, right? So that's where for us, we kept on going throughout the pandemic. With another partner, we built out a custom home division, and now doing 10 custom homes, average price of $5 to $10 million. Before we were selling product for 124, just 16 years ago.
Wow.
Now that's the cost of some of the kitchens.
Yeah.
Right? So like for us, it's
serious.
Always learning, always building, always learning, always inspiring, always knowing that those are watching and we're making an impact, and it's giving them the ability to like, I could do this too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I could do this too. That's why we've always been open to show the ropes, open to say, here's the game. Yeah. Go out and do it. Yeah. Right? And now, like, when we spoke about real estate, there wasn't, like you were doing a podcast, like I think maybe you could say 5 people come and do the podcast of talk about real estate.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
50, 100, within your network, 25, right? And now it's not just selling real estate, it's building real estate, it's renovating, it's custom homes, it's townhouses, right? So we're excited about what we've helped to change.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
of course, it's the mindset, because you don't know unless you know, right? And if you don't see it, then you don't think it's possible. Like, you don't have a grip on it. But, just the fact that we see you doing it, it's like, okay, I can get into that, and then I guess it's just the information that right? That like to build, like, so with that, I take it, you did the same as your parents, were asking questions, I take it, right? And you're still on that, right?
Always asking questions, always researching, always learning.
Yeah.
It's, again, always a student of the game. Always a student of the game. That's why we've been able to do so many different projects in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 10 years and we've done 10 plus projects.
Wow.
Right, but most projects take 3 to 4 years, right? So
you're juggling, you have a bunch of them going on.
Exactly, right? And not just with the signs there, but completed projects, right? So that's and we didn't just come in to just be a player. We really wanted to make an impact.
Yeah,
we really wanted to be able to go to the institution and say, how can we play ball? How can we go from a 9-story building to a 30-story building? How can we go from doing 23 townhouses to now we're about to launch 67 townhouses?
Okay.
Right? Now we're going to launch in Collingwood 37 townhouses. Right? And then we're finalizing another whole condo in Woodbridge for 100 plus units.
Okay.
Right? So like for us, we're just getting started.
Yeah, I see that. And you're talking about the impact, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, again, last time when I met with you, and that's what I'm saying, I keep bringing that time back, because that time, even then, you were just giving a bunch of game. Like, you're just going and just sharing everything. I'm like, holy, what's this guy saying? So but, I appreciate it, bro. Same thing. Yeah, it's making sense. Maybe right now you're talking about the planet, like what you said with the city has to run the lines to the city. I didn't even think about that. So like you could have land in a certain area, but you can't necessarily build if you don't have the infrastructure around it. So that's what I'm saying. So I want you to talk about the impact, because before you were talking, I remember at that time, like, everyone that's on my team, they have to drive, like, I think it was like a Benz or something like that. So you have a standard. So I want you to go about that. Like, why is that important to you? Like, setting that standard all the time.
Because our standards is so low when it comes to mainstream, right? Because of what we as a community, what we've been doing. And like I said, when most of us came here, we didn't come here to set our roots. We didn't come here to build infrastructure, right? So as a result of that, there was a notion that we have lower standards, which is not true. Yeah. When you go back home, there's castles there.
Oh, yeah. Well, everywhere with fences, gates, all that stuff is serious.
Right, but you got to be part of a system to build that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You got to be part of a system to build that. So for me, I knew where we were trying to go. And I knew that it's going to be a journey. I knew that we're going to have to change a lot of mindset. So everyone that was part of that journey, like, I remember we had an event last week with our agents. I said there hasn't been anyone that's come through the dream ecosystem, rarely directly or indirectly, that hasn't elevated. If they didn't elevate, it's because they didn't put in time. They didn't put in time within that dream ecosystem. But every single person that came through Dream, currently, in the past, and elevated to something else. They came in better than how they started. Wow. Right? They left better than how they started, right? And that was always the notion, right? That was always the notion, and that is still the notion, right? And that's a legacy. That's a when you go into a university, the goal is you're better than when you started. You're smarter than when you started. You're more exposed than when you started, right? Because that means you had a good professor. That means there was good infrastructure. That means there was a good library. That means there's a good student center, right? And then you graduated, right? And then maybe you graduate to do your master's. You graduate to do your PhD. Dream Maker's been that for the community.
That's serious.
Dream
That's
Maker's been that
serious.
for the
No,
community.
it's deep.
Yeah,
yo, I have to heal you on that
no,
because that's deep. Like how you're talking, like it's like a school. Like
it's been a school.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's hundreds, like thousands. We changed the lives of thousands. We've changed the lives of millions because those thousands have changed the lives of a lot of people. You're changing the lives of people. We talked 8 years ago. And it's not that you have to work for the company.
Exactly.
But it's conversation.
Exactly.
I'm getting calls from certain people that I went and speak at their school in Scarborough. Now they're, artists and they're giving back and they're telling me how similar to you. They were at that time, I think 15, and I would have been, I guess, 25. And they met me at Liberty Village.
Okay.
I gave them my business card.
Yeah.
And I said, just chase your dreams.
Nice.
And that was it. That was enough for them to elevate. Other than my dad, I didn't have no other conversation with someone that said, chase your dreams.
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. That's why we launched Dream Maker. Right? So that's why people come into our circle.
Yeah.
And now a lot of them are chasing their dreams.
Yeah. You're a dream maker for real. And I want you to go about why is this so embedded in you? Where, you're giving of yourself so much. I want you to go more deeper into that.
Because God has given me so much so early, right? So I feel like it will be a sin to be exposed to so much so early at a time when, 21 years old, 19 years old, 20, could have been exposed to so many other things. But fortunate enough, God allowed my parents to put me in an environment where I'll be exposed to good things very early, understand it, grow from it and learn from it, and you got to give back.
Yeah.
You can't wait until you're 50 to give back. So that's the reason why, and I think by that, it's opened up other doors. It's opened up other doors. We're not a real estate company. We're an asset management company.
Yeah.
We're building an institution. We're building an institution in multiple verticals. That's why we have our foundation and the Knowledge Hub research. That's why we have our venture fund, and we're the only institutionally backed venture fund for Black founders. All within the same 10 years of building 10 different projects.
Wow.
Right? So how can't I not give back? Right? When given so much.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. I want to bring that out because, with the map up, that's one of the focus 11. We have 11 things that we focus on to create wealth, right? And contribution is one of those things. And, I see that pour out with you. And then also another thing that I see that you have and is within your family is your relationships.
Yes.
Right? And the relationships, because that's how I got to meet you. Your Auntie Joy, she's talking, my nephew, you have to be this, and after I just connected with you, and then you're so open to reaching out to us, and then, you're just giving us all this game, but it just showed the relationship you have with her, and then also how you open up to me, and I see the people that you're around, so relationships. I want you to go more into that, and why that is important.
Because, for me, I never wanted to be the only one. What's the value of just being the only one? I truly wanted there to be a mass adoption of the real estate game. A mass adoption of the generational wealth concept.
Yes.
A mass adoption of building infrastructure.
Yeah.
A mass adoption of ownership, building your own.
Yeah.
Business, so that there's a true community built.
Yeah.
Right? I can't just be here in silo, building, driving, and just selling product. Nah, what's the? And then it comes to a point. Then what else is more? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? For our community to be where it is now, from where it started 10 years ago, in the next 10 years, it's going to be amazing to see. It's going to be amazing. I got daughters that are 11, 9, and 6. It's going to be a great community for them in 10 years, right? And that's really a foundation that we've been part of. I remember I spoke about it at York University almost 7, 8 years ago about the different phases of the black community, going from whether it be the slavery phase to the social phase to the political phase, like meaning allowed to go to school, allowed to vote. And at that time, 10 years ago, I was talking about the economic phase. And now when you see everything that the government is doing, they've now doubled down on the economic phase, not just on the social phase. The social phase is very important, but you can't fix the social problems without fixing the economic problems as well, right? And that's now we've helped lay that foundation.
Okay, thank you.
So now there's social impact that's social investment, right? That are now being done as a result of what our focus was from day one, which was to make a legacy and to actually build infrastructure, not just sell real estate. Because then go sell shoes. Exactly. Go sell whatever. Go sell cars.
There's meaning behind what you're doing.
And
what you're saying as well, because what you're talking about building, it's going to be a whole new perspective, especially like you said with the black community. Because right now, if you take it in, the black community is who claims areas the most too. Like, oh, I'm from this area or that area. You already know the different hoods or whatever. But the thing is, there's no ownership in there. So now, and that's what you said, that just charged me up, because now the perspective is, we're going to have an area, but we're going to be building that area.
Correct. And that's where it's businesses as well too, because it comes back to the master plan. The master plan includes institutions, businesses, plazas, low-rise, mid-rise, place of worship. That's a community. A business center, a hotel, hospitality, tech-enabled businesses. We've seen the impact of technology, prop tech. Like, these are all part of the infrastructure. Right?
And that's why you're definitely the reason why I see even the government is throwing stuff out for the black community and all that stuff. With grants, that's a whole other story. Every time I applied for a grant, I never got it, so I just gave up my grants. But I want to get back into it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want you to talk about that now, because now you have an in with the government, and of course people have certain things, and like you said, the infrastructure, want to build it, and I now that you're showing the real vision, I can see why like what you're really doing on a large scale, right? So like with that now, how are we going to trickle that in? Like you said, how is the government going to help us make this happen?
Well, the biggest thing is that we were fortunate. Dream Legacy got awarded the knowledge research, and I don't think our community, I think our community understands the value, but not everyone really understands the value. But we know that data is power. And it's hard for banks, universities, institutions to do anything without the data that's provided to, let's do this because of this. Instagram, Netflix, all these different technologies have data, and based on that, they could do things, they could present things that is to your benefit because of what you like and what you don't like. And then they'll try and sell you something or present something to you that they feel is for you. It's hard for the banks and the government and businesses, corporations to present things to the black community without understanding the data. Dream Legacy, in partnership with Carleton University, has now been funded to provide research on black entrepreneurship over the next 4 years. And we're going across Canada. We're going to do a partnership with another probably 10 to 15 universities and colleges across Canada and 100 black nonprofits to see what are the gaps in entrepreneurship for within the black community. What are the gaps for entrepreneurs when it comes to getting big contracts, when it comes to doing financing, when it comes to doing transaction in all industries that we're in today, industries that we're not in today, industries that are going to be big tomorrow, and how do we position ourselves to be part of that tomorrow, right? Like, how do we position ourselves to be part of the blockchain wave, the prop tech wave, the health tech wave, and other industries that are being built up. So that's the data that we're going to be researching on for the next 4 years, and I'm excited about that. Like, there's a lot of things that we're excited about under Dreammaker, but that's one area, truly excited, because then that's going to have a massive ripple effect for the entrepreneur that's watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? That's coming up in the next 5 years. They're going to have a different path.
Yeah.
Because by the time they go to the banks are going to have recommendations of how to work with entrepreneurs, because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. Right? So no, that we're excited about that.
Yeah,
we're
even at the mixer that we went to the other day, my boy Curtis, he's my client as well. I work with him, and then he showed me, some app idea he had, and I was like, yo, this is serious. Right? And after I'm like, yo, this is a great idea, and I see he was coming, talking to you, talking to Sherrod, like different people that, could potentially invest. So what you're saying is you're setting up that platform, so if he could, like someone like him, he could go and make that happen, like on a faster scale, right?
So that's our platform is on the research. What you're now talking about is what we're doing with BKR Capital. So BKR Capital is the first institutionally backed venture fund for Black founders, Black tech founders. We're backed $20 million fund, EDC, Scotiabank, BDC, TELUS Ventures are all part of our investors in that fund to invest in founders. So we've already invested in 4 companies. We're going to be investing in 18 companies over the next 3 years. Check sizes from $250,000 to $500,000.
Okay.
And the goal is to find the next unicorn.
Okay.
The goal is to build Black tech founders in Canada, because then there's a massive ripple effect.
Yeah.
Now there's excess dollars in the community.
That's what we need, exactly, for sure, to circle around. So let's say those 4 that got the thing. How did they get it? Like, can you tell us how do we get access to these funds?
So they applied through our pipeline at BKR Capital, and then they went through a full process, right? So there's full due diligence. Then we have an advisory team. We have an investment committee team. Then we speak to their clients. So the 4 that we got into, one is called Goody. They're based out of Montreal. They're in an e-commerce platform. The next one is MICC. They're in the fintech space out of PEI.
Okay.
Out of PEI, bro. Like that's the reach across Canada. They're doing great. They ended up closing on their round. And then the other one that we co-invested with some other LPs is called Trips or Plenty Waka. Okay. They're actually based in West Africa.
Oh, wow.
And they're digitizing the bus system.
Okay.
In West Africa. Okay. And they're setting up an office here as well too.
Oh, wow.
So within our fund, we have a percentage that we could invest outside Canada, but the goal, 90+% is Canadian founders. Yeah.
But with the due diligence though, like what are some of the things, like, what are some of the things in that due diligence process that like make these people qualify?
So the ability to scale your technology,
okay.
The ability to gain traction, right? Like in terms of customer traction or business traction, what type of team that you have, what's your success story of as a founder, right? Because we're pre-seed to about Series A, right? So in terms of valuation of companies, will be companies that are around 3 million valuation to about 12 million valuation, and looking to raise anywhere from $500,000 to about 1.5. So, we're familiar with like the Dragon's Den,
exactly.
Shark Tank, right? Like similarly to that. And now what we've done with our hotel/business hub by the airport, Dream Suites, is that we're turning that into a business hub, into a co-working space as well too. And we're going from 12 to 24,000 square feet. So we're going to build an athletic center as well too. So we're going to build it as a space for entrepreneurs to come in, interact, learn about business ideas, learn how to collaborate, learn about deals that you're doing. Like the event that we're at, imagine that event, but just as a regular normal day. So that's, again, going back to environment. But you need infrastructure to create an environment you want. Right? So we have the infrastructure, now we're creating different environments.
Okay. That's amazing. Honestly, like I like how you go so deep into things, and detail, because with the detail, I guess you have to know every single piece, right? You gotta know every single piece of what's going on, But overall, I get you. You have a vision, right? And your vision is, this thing that it seems like it doesn't end. It's so large.
Yeah, it's large.
Right? So, I want you to talk about that. Why is that important? Why does it have to be so large? Like, what does that do for you?
It keeps me motivated. Like I said, I like challenges. So that means I need to think big. And I need to think about big impacts. And I need to think about impacting those that have not even met me yet. Right? But then by the time they meet somebody through the indirect connections to one of my programs or one of my initiatives, they've met me. Right? Like that's the way I'm thinking and that's the way I'm operating. And it's just in my blood and there's no stopping it now. We're already in that course. We're already working with the federal government. We're already working with 10 plus universities. We've already built the buildings. We've already built the business hub. We've already created the first Black tech incubator in Canada. We've already created the first housing program for Black families with Habitat and Black North. So by creating all these initiatives, we're on that course of creating generational change. So we can't stop now.
Wow.
We can't stop now.
So how are you getting all these new things to do? Like
environment. I'm just in the right environment, right? I'm just in the right environment, and I always place myself, God willing, in those right environments, and individuals that may be in an environment I want to be in are reaching out and saying that we like what you're doing. How can we collaborate? Because our focus was on infrastructure from day one. It was never sales. Because it was sales, then I'll be getting a lot of sales awards.
That's real. That's real.
It was never about sales, man. We're playing a different game.
For sure. So yeah, I see even like all your family is in something within development and real estate. Like I guess the whole family. Like, and I know when I talked to you the other day too, that's what you said. You're like, you have everyone so that everyone can serve. In their specialty.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly. My brother is in law. My sister's in real estate. My cousin's in real estate. His cousin is in real estate. It's his friend is getting into real estate. Again, we're built, and it doesn't just all have to be in Dream, but directly or indirectly, it's connected to Dream in one capacity or the other, and that's an amazing thing, right? And that's a special thing that I said again. There's now no excuses for our community to succeed and thrive. All the tools are there. Like there's more mentors now than we could even name. Right? And a lot of the mentors are open to come to talk, communicate.
For sure. No, I appreciate that. Right? And that's why, that's one of the reasons for the Wealth Talk podcast too, to be that extended reach to everyone that could get to you, or, because not everyone could get to everybody, and I'm grateful and I thank God that, I'm being, connected with, such people. And I want to bring that to God too, because he mentioned that, about God and because when you're thinking so big, it must be God that's channeling you, and I see you're all about service, so I want you to talk about that and your connection and, why that's so important, because sometimes people, they think, oh, like, when something happens to us, oh God, but you're talking about it in a graceful manner.
No, absolutely. You got the hardest thing to have is faith, because you can't touch it, right? So like if you have faith, you're gonna accomplish something, and you haven't even started. That's a spiritual thing inside you, right? So when I was 28, and I said, okay, we're gonna start this project that we've never done before. We've never renovated before, but we're gonna build a building. And we're gonna build it here. That's a lot of faith, because there's a lot of moving pieces that sometimes you have no control over. As much as you want to control it, you have no control over. So if you don't have a strong faith, it's not something that you can walk through. But everyone has a level of faith. When you go to school and you're there for 4 years, for 5 years, you have faith that what I'm doing, there's a reward for it, right? The sacrifice I'm doing, the journey I'm going through, there's a reward. Everyone is going through a journey, right? One more harder than the other, but everyone is going through their own journey, right? So I wanted to make sure the journey that I'm taking is going to have a lasting impact, right? And it's going to make, and it's going to change policies because I've been fortunate to be in those rooms. How could I be in a room and see that, you know, billions of dollars are going into tech and Black founders aren't being, and I'm getting Black capital, and then I walk out of that meeting? Can't.
Exactly.
I can't. There's a reason why I'm in that room.
In that room,
There's a reason why I'm
need someone to speak up and say something,
That's how change happens. But you just got to be strategic in it, right? There's ways to make change. Like in 36 months, in 48 months, the conversation of Black in tech has been drastically changed. It took a decade plus for real estate in the Black community because we didn't know strategically how to make those impacts. But sorry, it took 17 years. But with tech, we did it in 4 because we went institutions, then we went this, then we went that. Boom. Now it's across the city.
I get what you're saying,
Now tech is across the city. With development, it took one project in Yorkdale. That anybody knows that location. Right?
Exactly.
So that one project has made an impact. If we did no other project, that one project has made an impact. Right? So we're going to do something, we want to do something that has an impact.
That's amazing. You know, honestly, I appreciate you, Isaac, for coming on here. You know, you just shared so much, you know, and, you know, this platform is something that's ongoing, so we'd love to even have you on here again. But if you could just share, like, how can people reach you or even reach Dreammaker, you know, because I know if I had to go through your secretary to get But, you know, like, but you're responsive, for sure. Like, I was on, even on Instagram, I was communicating and responsive. So, you know, how do we, you know, tap in? Like,
so our Instagram page, Dreammaker TO on Instagram page, on our LinkedIn page, Dreammaker as well. We're going to be hosting a lot of events at our hotel, Dream Suites, at YYZ. We're hoping to announce our second hotel by the end of this year, which will be Midtown Toronto, as well too, and our other projects that we're going to be going to the Ottawa region, the BC region as well too. So we're just going to keep on scaling, you know, and we're, you know, come for the ride, and it's a long journey, but there's going to be multiple wins along the way.
And you know, like that's something that I want to ask, like, how can I help you and how can, you know, we help you, anyone that's on here, because, you know, you're at those heights, but of course, you know, you need people as well, you know, to help get you up, because you're pulling up people, so we need to keep boosting as well, you know. And, you know, Aaron, when he came on here, that was one of his big things too, that you want, you know, how can I help you? And that's something that we do got to say more, you know. So I want to know, like, how can I help you and how can anyone that's tuned in here help you, you know, with your vision?
No, that's a great question. You know, I've never really thought about that. You know, I think really, you know, a lot of people, I've collaborated with so many people. You know, I think first is everyone shifting the mindset that wealth takes time and a journey, right? Sustainable wealth, right? And we're on a journey for sustainable wealth. And if you want to be part of that journey, reach out to us, because we're not just in real estate. We're in hospitality, we're in venture, we're in the nonprofit space, we're in the custom house space, we're in the affordable housing space. There is so many places we could plug individuals in. And as I told you, in the last 17 years, there's no one that's come through the Dream ecosystem that hasn't elevated. And that's a fact.
That's amazing. You know, honestly, Isaac, I appreciate you. God bless you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Real talk, man. We appreciate it. You know, Well Top Podcast. I know you got a lot of information, so you're gonna have to play this back and take some notes. And you know, he's available. Like you said, he just showed all the ways that you can reach him. You know, and that's what we're here to do this for. So thank you for tuning in. You know, such an amazing episode. God bless.
Thank you.
Yes, man.